So I found myself working in Unity again, and after I don't know how many years of configuring and changing and trying to remember which joystick button mapped to what, and bringing all my project settings from one project into another, and remapping joysticks, especially if you want more than one joystick mapped. This input manager is really, really cumbersome. So I created an editor window that I am releasing specifically to manipulate and manage this input manager in a more programmatic way. So this is very tweakable. I've added my own macros for basic things that I generally use. But I figured I would give an example because it can get a little confusing, especially because you can't alter this while Unity is running. So I'm going to clear this out and add regular mouse movement and mouse fire input mappings or axes mappings. It goes through and creates all the generic mappings inside its own internal structure. And then you are able to save out the asset. Now, this is the important part. You cannot overwrite the input manager while this copy of Unity is running. You could overwrite the input manager from another project folder, but for the sake of showing off some of the features here, I'm going to call this input mouse controls. And to show this actually works, I'm going to open this up and delete the old input manager. And let's make a copy of this for now. And call this input manager.asset, just the way it was before. And when we open Unity back up, it should pick that up as intended. So, that's good, all fine and good for quick setups and whatnot, but not quite enough. What if we also wanted, or let's say we had another project that used all the gamepads and then we wanted to add the mouse ability to it. There's a slider here you can use to specify how many joysticks you want to support and an axis count that you want supported analog-wise. There are two macro buttons here for supporting the generic Unity joysticks. Analog axes will generate an indexed set of joysticks, like so. So you have joystick 1, axis 1. The naming convention here is very similar to the way the buttons would normally be configured. This is just for ease of use and sanity when dealing with Unity input mappings. These all work as expected and work the same way the mouse one did. You save it out and use it later. So I'm going to save this to input manager or input. Let's see, so 4 joysticks. .asset, just so that we have it around for the future. There is also a catch-all axes that listens to the axis count, but uses the input from all joysticks property as opposed to specifying the joystick to get input from. So let's say we had our current input manager and we wanted to add all of our other configurations to it if it wasn't just one of these stock macro buttons. There is this really convenient merge button that allows you to open another input manager asset, and it will magically append everything to the end of it using the same structure, reading it in properly, and reading straight from the asset file without having to push it through the Unity input manager. So again, now we can save this out and call it input manager tweaked. Close Unity. Delete the old input manager and rename the new tweaked one to input manager regular. Reopen the project and confirm that everything is in fact there. All of this works beautifully, and it is very, very easy to add additional macros. Let's see. And just for an example, I've created a Xbox catch-all. It doesn't listen to any of these. Xbox indexed, however, will listen to the Xbox controller. So you can generate 3 Xbox controllers, Xbox One, left thumbstick X, so on and so forth, all the way down the list. But I currently have a demo set up for Xbox Catch-All just to prove that all this is working. So we're going to save this out as input manager tweaked yet again. Close it. Delete the old manager. Rename this guy. Reopen Unity. And we should see all of the Xbox inputs correctly mapped, or most of the Xbox inputs correctly mapped. And I created an Axis tester script that just loops through input buttons so you can see them displayed in a GUI. And just to prove this is working, X, Y, X, Y, left trigger, right trigger. And the Xbox controller, if nobody's familiar with this, unfortunately the left and right triggers are actually merged into Axis 3. I can't do too much about that without a third-party plugin, unfortunately. Xbox D-pad works, and all the buttons are mapped as expected. Anyway, I hope other people find this handy. I'm sure going to enjoy never having to use the input manager to configure multiple joysticks ever again. Currently, this only functions with Unity 4, whatever the latest release is at the time of the posting. I think it's 4.01 F2. I will definitely update it and see if I can make the input tweaker more robust in the future, but right now it is very specific to input managers generated by this version of Unity, and I can't promise that it'll be future-proof until I get there. All right, have fun, and again, I hope somebody gets a use out of this.